Hi, have a nice lunch. Welcome to lunch. You know, we do this every day at noon Eastern time and earlier on the Pacific Coast, of course. And tell your friends about it. I hope they like it. What is the Palin-Bachmann primary? That's what we'll talk about today. Every time Michele Bachmann speaks, the question that occurs to each of us in our own minds, irrepressibly, involuntarily, is how does she stack up against Sarah Palin? On one hand, is she as attractive, as charismatic? Does she have that same gift for the zinger, the key phrase? Does she have the same ability to drive liberals crazy by going for their jugular? But on the other hand, does she have some of the defects? Is she as inexperienced? Is she as subject to the picking apart by the left-wing sexist media that asks stupid questions of women and try to portray them as flaky and uneducated and not well-informed and lacking gravitas? How vulnerable will she be to that? Will she be a lightning rod for attacks like Sarah Palin was? Will her personal life embarrass her because of the way the liberal media picks over it? So we're thinking about Palin as we're watching Bachmann. And I think generally Bachmann does pretty well in that comparison. I think every time she speaks, we can't help but be struck by the deep level of knowledge she has about issues, even foreign policy issues, because of her service on the House Intelligence Committee. By the way, it's worth noting that Pat Moynihan once said, never confuse intelligence with intelligence. But in this case, she has both. And it's obvious that she really knows what's going on. Her information about what's going on in Congress, her experience in Washington, stuff a former governor of Alaska can't possibly have. And I think that she really has all of that information easily retrievable at her fingertips, and I think she does a really good job of putting it together. Her personal life is obviously very admirable, but there are going to be people who are going to pick all over it, and we need to understand that that's how the liberals try to discredit women. Somehow or other, the liberal media can't handle the idea of a conservative Republican woman. Women are supposed to be the Democratic Party's prerogative. They're all supposed to vote Democrat because they're all supposed to be pro-choice. And forget about taxes, the economy, jobs, education, the union control of our schools. Those issues aren't supposed to matter. Women are supposed to be Democrat. And when a Sarah Palin or a Michele Bachmann come along, they really unload on them in a direct, personal way. We talked in an earlier video 2 or 3 weeks ago how outrageous it was when George Stephanopoulos asked her about a comment she made about the Founding Fathers struggling to end slavery. And of course, Michele was right. The Northwest Ordinance and the ban on slave trade in the Constitution is evidence of that. But this level of intense scrutiny that women get is really something to be concerned about as we approach this election. So will Michele Bachmann be able to reach that higher bar? Will she have all of the assets of Sarah Palin, but avoid the defects that dragged her down? That's going to be the key question to watch. And so far, I have to say Michele's doing just great. And I cheer her on, I wish for her, even pray for her. But we'll have to see how that eventuates. So keep your eye on that process, because that's one of the key dynamics of this year's election. Thanks for lunch, and see you tomorrow.